Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today it's going to be a game between Last and Bisu here on Fighting Spirit. This replay is dated July 8th, 2015. Hope that helps you guys with your meta assumptions. And in the bottom left-hand corner of Fighting Spirit, we have the Teal Terran player. It is Last. I know it says Ashley up there, but that is one of his Smurfs. Thank you so much to the Brood War Smurf list, you guys. Holy smokes. I don't know how anyone does anything without it. And in the bottom right-hand corner is the yellow Protoss player. It is Bisu. I know it says NA first here, but that is Bisu. Thanks again to the Smurf list. It's so handy. It's so handy to be able to tell who is here. Nobody goes by their names. The better you are, the less often you go by your actual name on some of these ladder matches. So Last is considered one of the greatest Terran players in the current day. He's not the best or anything, but come on. He's pretty darn fantastic. And then Bisu really has been a terror for the Protoss race for many, many years now. Still is. Honestly, to this day, there was the Sino-Korean Carnival they held back in 2016, and it was Bisu in the finals and Flash in the finals, just like always. So, I mean, this is 2015. Bisu is still in fighting shape right now. He is still killing it. He is still abjectly terrifying. Let's see how he does against Last. Now, Last has the blueprint on how to beat Bisu as a Terran in a Protoss game. Flash has shown it to him a billion times. You go mech. That's it. You get a whole ton of tanks, you get a whole ton of vultures, you get Goliaths in there too as necessary, and you just win. If Bisu tries to go Dragoons, it's really hard for him to break that. Dragoons and Zealots are good, but the tank lines, if they're too big, the vultures, if they're upgraded enough, they are problematic there. And if you try to go carriers, then the Goliaths will take you down, assuming you're not incredibly good with your carriers, which Bisu is. Bisu might be able to go carrier here and make this thing work. We saw Last get beat by Rain in a TVP in a best of 5 series that I cast a couple weeks ago now, maybe a month ago or so now, but check that one out. Seriously, I might put a link in the top right if I remember to put it in. If not, remind me, and I'll toss it in there. But it is Last and Rain. It's best of 5. They played it at BlizzCon initially, and the carrier play by Rain was insane. It's like some of the best carrier play I've ever seen, and it really just comes down to using the carriers in a way that hides their bodies, like hides the bulk of the carrier on things like high ground and water and places that Goliaths can't get to. It's kind of incredible. And Raiden is definitely one of the best, if not the best player on Earth at it. So, but we're a long way off from carrier here. Not much happening on either player's side right now. We're working on Dragoons. We're getting Singularity Charge, which feels like pressure. Coming from Bisu, we've seen that story a lot. You show up with Dragoons, you can outrange Marines, you can outrange Marines in bunkers, and you just kind of harass for a while. And if you're good enough and the Terran doesn't respond quite perfectly, you can really set them back economically because it does cost money to repair. And if they don't repair the bunker, they just die. So keep that in mind. Players are scouting and just missing horribly. An SCV did make it in to Bisu's base, which is nice. But again, Bisu, I don't know what it is. In the games I've seen of his, he just has really bad luck scouting his opponent in 4-player maps. He's just not great at it. So, I don't know what that means. It probably doesn't mean anything. It's just luck of the draw. But it's got to hurt. It's got to just be like, you want to get a scout off early. That's why you send the probe out as soon as you do. And now there's Marines defending the ramp, and it's just like, the probe can't see anything. The probe's going to see a lack of an expansion, which is good news. Right? That's going to be good for him, because he doesn't have an expansion either. And if Last had an expansion and he didn't, it would be a little bit scary. A little bit scary, but I don't know, maybe it'd be better. Maybe actually there'd be less army to defend against the Dragoons that are coming across the map here. All 2 of them, and they're going to have Singularity Charge in just about 20 seconds, if I am reading that progress bar quite correctly. Now, somebody said there was a problem with these earlier. I don't know, they said they were transparent, but I'm not seeing any transparencies. Also, I have the colors, but I can make them disappear like this. See how stupid that is? If I mouse scroll, like click on the middle mouse button and go right, it disappears, and then it comes back if I go left. It doesn't make any sense at all. I really don't understand why that's the case, and that's why I don't use that type of scrolling in Brood War. First of all, it's impossible to control, and second of all, it makes the colors disappear. Maybe there's a way to turn that off. I don't know. The good news is there's a tank out for Last, and he's working on... No, he's working on spider mines. He's not even bothering with siege mode right now. Fair enough. Expansion coming on in now from Bisu. He's got ranged Dragoons. He's feeling pretty happy about dealing with whatever last can chuck at him at this stage of the game anyway. And a barracks floating over to scout and see what we're dealing with. The answer is 2 Dragoons exactly. No more, no less. Got some defensive Dragoons back home here too, but that's about it. What are we working on? Observatory. He wants detection. Absolutely, without a doubt here. And the robotics facility is being used for absolutely nothing right now. Well, maybe, I guess he's just waiting for the observatory to finish and then go for an observer. That's the first thing he's making, like, right out of the bat, because he does recognize that it's going to be vultures, it's going to be spider mines, the detection is better earlier rather than later. So Last does manage to set up, right? Set up here with some tanks, with some marines. Probably should have some vultures. There we go. A vulture does show up. And the natural base is happily mining for both players right now. I'd say economy-wise, they're pretty even. Taking the worker count on each of the bases looks a little bit less from Last, but not a crazy number. Not insane. All right, so we've got Dragoons with range, and we have observers. Those are the 2 key ingredients to clearing out spider mine fields. Bisu's done this a billion times. He's not going to lose anything to it, I don't think. Finally, working on siege production, or siege ability, for those tanks is Last, and an engineering bay is coming up here too. Likely just going to be for turrets. I mean, I just can't imagine he's going to go for bio, especially considering the fact that he floated his barracks away and has 2 factories. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So the vultures are running around. They don't have speed yet. They are fast, but they're not as fast as if they have speed. That, I mean, just puts them in another category altogether. They are so fast when they have a bike speed there. Barracks floating on up to see, okay, nothing harassing us at all right now. Really, there have been a couple of minor engagements, but not much has been killed, if anything, right now. Both players around 400 APM, which is bananas. Clearing out a spider mine there, and a potential 3rd base for Bisu, just clearing it out for the future in case he wants it. You know, you don't want to have to deal with a spider mine and try to expand at the same time, and he is. He's expanding. Spider mine taken care of before the expansion even really starts to go down, and we do have a Stargate coming in. There we go. Stargate and a Templar Archives from Bisu. So both players just hanging out, man. PBTs recently have just kind of been big hangout fests. I cast a best versus light game earlier this week. Was it earlier? It was earlier this week, and it was kind of the same story. It was neither player really was interested in doing anything too aggressive for at least the first 7 or 8 minutes. And it got a little bit more exciting for sure. Yeah, I mean, the spider mine clearing out has just been flawless for Bisu. It's not something that's hard, but you just have to make sure you have the right things to make it happen. All right, well, armory coming up, upgrades for his mech units. That's something we always like to see if you're going mech. What else is happening here, you guys? Just a lot of probes, man. That is a lot of probes at the natural. It's a lot of SCVs at this natural, too. And Bisu's, all right, I'm just going to go right to Arbiter, if that's okay with you, and just going straight directly to Arbiter. So this is maybe not something Flash would allow. I'm not sure that Flash would be like, hey, Bisu, just sit back and don't have to worry about me for a while. Just tech up to whatever you want, and then we'll come fight later. No, man. Flash is aggressive. He'll push out with tanks. He'll do vulture attacks. He'll do drops and stuff. I mean, Bisu, one of the things that makes him as good as he is his macro. And if his macro is just left alone, suddenly we're at 100 supply at the 8-minute mark for Bisu right now, and he's got Arbiters on the way. That's just insane. I mean, try to do that in one of your own ladder games in StarCraft. It's just not going to happen. You just will not be able to get here, even if you're left entirely alone. It just takes such precision timing, such precision, never forgetting a probe, never forgetting to put it on the minerals and put it on the gas, getting a 3rd base at the perfect time here too. It's just a lot of stuff to pay attention to. You don't have rallies, and it's really, really difficult. Oh, by the way, speaking of really, really difficult RTS, I've been playing Warcraft 2 out on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FalconPaladin recently. If you want to see me play Warcraft 2 in DOSBox without control groups, with no queuing up, with no rallies at all, come check me out. Twitch.tv/FalconPaladin. I think you'll enjoy what you see. It's been a lot of fun, is what I'm trying to say. All right, where are we? Just somebody go. Is it time? Is it time for Last to move out here? Time for Ashley to go? It looks like it is. He has a goodly number of tanks. He's got a decent number of vultures here too. Not a huge number, but he's okay. He's at 102 supply. Bisu obviously winning that race. Taking a 4th base up north here too. Man, he feels so comfortable. Working on faster observer movement, getting stasis field. I'd like to see some actual stasis that works against Terran. We've seen stasis tried against Terran by Protoss a few times on the channel, and it just hasn't quite gotten there, if you know what I mean. I'd just like to see that happen, that's all. Alrighty then. Are we accidentally going to engage here right now? No, man. Last he's just setting up a defensive perimeter. He's got missile turrets, he's throwing up supply depots. He's trying to mess with the AI, like the attack moves here from Bisu, which I guess is okay. Shuttles in production to working on plus attacks for the Dragoons and the Zealots. They do have... Why too fast here? They got +1 attack already. Oh yeah, that's too fast. That's better. Zealots with legs are zippy, man. Missile turret guy spinning around. Hey, missile turret guy. Blah, 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 blah. Vulture versus Zealot here. Ow. 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 Yeah, man. Vulture down. 100%. So every base at least has an eye being kept on it right now. Vultures are in different positions. Zealots are here. Another base coming up from Bisu. Holy crap, dude. He's going for a 5th at the 11-minute mark right now. That's insane. That said, man, this tank count is getting fairly intimidating. They're continuing to be produced. We've got missile turrets coming up all over the place right now. Zealots coming to the middle to see, is this maybe where Last is hanging out? No. No, it is not where Last is hanging out at all. It's one of my favorite parts of the whole StarCraft soundtrack right there. It's very good. All right, so setting up is Bisu. He's gonna go in there. He can't just A-move into this. These tanks are scary. They have +1 attack. They're split out very well. You got some spider mines your Zealots have to worry about. But I mean, Bisu's working on getting maxed out. He can't just sit back. The longer he's maxed out and just sitting there, the longer Last has, the more time he has to get maxed out, and that's just not something you want to see. You don't have to deal with a maxed out Terran if you don't have to. Yeah, working on EMP Shockwave, working on Charon boosters too. Here is Last. Vultures trying to get up. They have that speed now. Look at these guys go. Bye! We're faster than everything. I mean, they're on bikes, right? Motorcycles are fast. That's the idea. Last is turtling up as most... I mean, I've never seen a Terran player turtle up this much. He has so many tanks on the ground. He's at 174 supply himself. Oh, he's going to do a bit of a drop action here, eh? Kind of like it. Why are you going that way, though? Go this way. Drop up here. Wipe out this base. There's hardly any defense present. Bisu just running around the middle of the map. He's got his arbiters. Got some shuttles. What's in the shuttles? Zealots are in the shuttles to drop on top of the tanks. Obviously, that's what the turrets are there for, is to discourage that from happening. It's time to go. Man, Bisu's okay, so he's just setting up, clearing out some of these spider mines. There you go. And then just dancing back, being incredibly patient thus far. Like, incredibly so. Arbiter comes in, stasis a couple of units. I don't know if that was enough, but here we go. Anyway, man, this is some strong pressure here from Bisu, bringing the Zealots in. That is so many tanks. Another stasis does go down on some of these tanks back here. The Zealots are trying to crush through this thing. They're doing pretty well for themselves, but the Vultures and the Goliaths know how to fight against Zealots. Dragoons, however, coming in for the second line of attack and aggression here, but there's just too many tanks on the third line. You got through two, but that was just too many. That was just too many on that third line back there. The tanks are now... well, they're almost at +2 attack. I assumed they were, but they are definitely not. The problem for Last is here, he doesn't have a 4th base. He doesn't really seem to be even in a position where he can go for a 4th base. So I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you about this. I'd like I mean, I'd like to see him push out here. I'd like to see him take a base, like forcibly grab something from Bisu. Bisu is going for a sixth base down here. Just right, just a stone's throw from the natural base of last down here in this corner. And it just seems like, I mean, we were having a discussion in the Discord the other day. There are some Brood War fans in there, link in the description, about playing against the AI. Somebody's like, yeah, I used to with my buddies just turtle up with Terran and take as many bases as possible and then just wait for the AI to throw themselves against us and waste all of their resources. I mean, it's vaguely effective. It's what I've ended up doing in a couple of these levels for Warcraft 2. Like, 90s AI wasn't that good. They would just throw themselves at you over and over again and just die. But here we go. More stasis. Only catching a Science Vessel and a Vulture there. I'm not sure that was actually enough. Tanks coming into siege mode. How many Zealots are present? I don't know. This is a lot of Dragoons, though. The Vultures trying to take out these Zealots. They're the buffer, and they're doing pretty well with it. And once again, pushing back is Bisu. He's trying to break this Turtle Terran, and it's just proving to be a little bit more difficult than he thought it was. He's making 21 Zealots at a time, though, you guys. He's fine. 21 Zealots. Are you kidding me right now? The Dragoons do have +2 attack. Are they working on? They're working on +3, but no armor upgrades and no shield upgrades to this point in time. I almost feel like a tech switch into carrier would be pretty good right now. This is a lot of tanks, and the Goliath count is not that heavy. 199 to 170 supply. Economically, Bisu's just absolutely killing it right now. He's starting to get a nice bank up here. He's got 1,600 gas as necessary. Storms coming in for him too. It's not that great against mech, but you know what? It does damage. It hits hard enough to be worth it. If you can storm a tank, that's still enough to bring it down to less than 50% health. So, I don't know. Take it, man. Don't be afraid, is what I'm trying to say. The dancing is pretty fun right now, but I'm just not sure it's actually doing anything. Another stasis on a couple of these units, but they're just too... That tank line back there is just too big. It is just too big right now. The Zealots are trying to come in, but the Vulture count is still pretty darn healthy. And tanks from the back end, they have their +2 attack done right now. More stasis coming on down. +1 armor is done. The Zealots aren't actually being cleared out. That was too many Zealots, actually. And they are getting on top of these tanks. Dragoons are fighting in here too. Missile turrets getting taken down. Zealots on top of these 4 tanks. Actually doing some splash damage there on that side, and reinforcing tanks, and Vultures are coming back on out. So that was a pretty good trade right there, I'd say. It is 174 to 136 supply in favor of Bisu right now. The fact that he has 6 bases, the fact that Last is on 3 bases is definitely not going to be forgotten by any of you guys at any time soon. Observer gets picked out of the sky by the Goliath. Goliath is working on a +3 attack and just continuing to make Vultures, making some Goliaths here too. Last apparently feels like his tank count is healthy enough, which I'm not sure that I necessarily agree with him on that. Look at this. Just more Dragoons, more Zealots coming down. Stasising the 1 Science Vessel. I suppose it makes it so EMPs are harder to get off. Yeah, I guess you can't EMP, you know, the Arbiter itself if you're in stasis. Not to mention EMPing everybody else on the ground here. Once again, coming on in is Bisu. Are there enough tanks on the ground to stop this thing? Zealots getting right on top of these tanks. Some of them are not protected by Vultures at all. They're in the north side. South side is a bit more Vulture play here, but I don't know if there are enough tanks. The balance seems to be a little bit off here for Last. Zealots right on top of these tanks down below. This is a crushing victory right now for Bisu. Tanks are gone, and that is it. That's your good game from Last. He taps out. Just too much attack there from Bisu. The Zealots doing work. It's 121 to 177 supply. Last couldn't even really find a spot to end up taking a 4th base, and that was it. So I'm wondering if this is more of a younger Last, right? Because the Last that we saw in 2018 seems to be a little bit, right? A little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit able to expand, especially in a PvT type situation. But anyway, good job there. I mean, it just comes down to economy. Great job by Bisu. He wasn't really bothered at all. Ended up getting 6 bases, ended up getting a ton of stasis wards available on these Arbiters, and just pushed in with Dragoons and Zealots and made it happen. This is what he's trying to do against Flash, you guys. It's just Flash has more stuff and faster, and Bisu's not able to get this many Arbiter out this fast. It's just a question of time It's always difficult. So great job there by Bisu getting the win in a PvT today, and that's going to be it from me. So this has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /FalconPaladin, one word. And until next time, as always, thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching, and you take care of yourself.